Now, things changed in the second season. Not only did it settle down in that way, and it wasn't as wacky, uh, like with Dustin's character, and the final episode of the first season was completely crazy
Yeah.
with
Well,
Mark
the
Gatiss.
seventh episode is like we went dark in the second season, which was great, which is what I was hoping for, which is because it's very hard to be sticky for 22 minutes.
Well, and each person's weaknesses in the second season at some point almost made the whole thing collapse.
Right. It was much. We had a lot more because the first season did really well, and when Hiscox renewed it, they doubled our budget, and they doubled our budget, which means we doubled the length. Yuri and I from the beginning wanted to do a show with 10 22-minute episodes, and
I was
so
ask about the 22 minutes because that seems to be. Did you do that with TV in mind?
yes, we did. I mean, we did do the longer episodes with TV in mind, but also we were on Hulu. And so being on Hulu is where people are used to watching things that are 22 minutes, 48 minutes. They're used to watching longer form stuff. And so Yuri and I are in the camp of we've been in this business for about the same time. We're of the mind of we want to make stuff that's like TV on the web. Whereas you have other people who are like, no, it's all about YouTube and interactive. I'm like, okay, that's great. It's also about that, but we want to make our West Wing. We want to make our, that's just what we want to do. But we want to do it on the web. So yeah, so the 22
second season was much more like a TV show, and so many,
right.
including
And another reason that we did 22 minutes was just aside from the creative part of it was, still as the the agency rep for Hiscox, it gave them more opportunity, more real estate to have their ads or their branding. So we made 22-minute episodes, and then on Hulu, and then Hiscox would bought the pre-roll and the mid-roll ads, and so it's like they couldn't be mentioned in the episodes themselves, and so they gave them more opportunities to show their logo or show their ad by having longer episodes.
22 minutes seems to be some sort of is the industry moving towards that standard? The Amazon pilots, I think, were all 22 minutes, Alpha House and
right.
Beta.
Right.
Is that something that you see coming to be more of a standard in web shows?
Yeah, I think it depends. Well, I think on platforms like Hulu and Crackle and Netflix and Amazon, absolutely.
It works.
Right, it works. It does not work on YouTube.
People want to get in and get out.
Well, yeah, I think YouTube people are on YouTube for one of a few reasons. Like they're looking for a clip. The mainstream is there to either watch a live event or to find a clip of something.
Mm-hmm. The
YouTube native audience, which is generation whatever Y or C or whatever they are, they are YouTube natives. Like they go to YouTube. They have their favorite vloggers. They have their favorite personalities. They know exactly where to find them. They know exactly when the new videos are coming out, and that's awesome. And that works. That works for them. It works for everyone. But there is the other camp that wants to leverage technology and the new distribution possibilities to create original stuff. I mean, I saw the whole platforms as programmers thing coming years ago, and a lot of people did. But I mean, I really fully believe that like one day, and I believe that iTunes is probably going to be the next one. I think like if you've got a platform that people are already using, make stuff. So I think Amazon wanted, just as Netflix, they want to make TV-like shows, and TV-like in every way, and so you make them TV length. And actually, the new Arrested Development episodes are not 22 minutes. They're like 37 minutes, 36 minutes too long. Not loving the new ones, but whatever. But yeah, so I think that's kind of, it's not just the industry standard, but it's also people are, the consumers are used to now, are used to watching or binge watching shows, or they're used to watching their shows on Hulu or whatever. They're used to that. So,
Yeah, I think it used to be where the attraction with web shows is you pulled in quickly and you can get out quickly. You're only committing a few minutes of time to any particular episode.
right. And I was always, I never wanted to, that to me, and I know that's true. And it always bothered me that that was um, and I think that's fairly intrinsic to YouTube, um, because I was always like, well, why can't you? Like, I don't want to make something, I don't want to sacrifice story or anything else to make it short just because you can't pay attention for more than 5 minutes.
And if it's a good story, people will stay with it.
Right. It's like why can't you? And so that's the thing that kind of, you know, YouTube, again, they serve a very specific audience for very specific behavior. But yeah, web shows, the idea, the thinking back then, and still in some camps, is that it's got to be super short. They have to be webisodes, and they have to be like 2 minutes long, and that has to be it. And I always thought, well, why? Why does it have to be that? Why can't you make something longer? If it's good, it's good.
When do we stop calling them webisodes?
Oh my God. I still see people. I still see it written as webisode, and I'm thinking, like webisode. It's like when you could read, like in the press, they would say a blog or weblog.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh God, all right. Yeah, webisode is like the worst possible thing. That's like, it's just not like, that's just not what it is. I don't even like the term web series. I never even use it.
What do
Um,
you?
I don't. I just say show or series.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because and I got some heat for that, because I wrote something for Tube Filter about that, um, and it has nothing to do with thinking web series is less than or anything. I've over time, as mediums have progressed, I've stopped putting the platform type in front of the thing I've made. It's not an online this. It's not a web that. It's not a TV this. Like it's if you assign the district, if you assign the device to the type of thing you've made, it pigeonholes it. And I think
Well, yeah, I was going to say definitions are limiting.
yeah. And so I think web series isn't even a web series anymore. Like it's online. It's on a lot of different places, but the reason why I had said that is because I conducted a little experiment, where my mom is like my petri dish. Like my mom is 65. If my mom can get it, anyone can get it. So when Leap Year, the second season of Leap Year came out, um, I sent her the link on Hulu to the trailer. I said, send this link to 5 friends of your same age, you play bridge with, great. And in your email, say, here's the trailer for Wilson's new show. So then she forwarded me all the responses. Oh, it looks great. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that looks wonderful. It was all that. Then I took the link, same link, um, and I said, now send it to 5 other friends and say, here's Wilson's new web series. And all but one response came back as, the link doesn't work. I can't get this to play. I can't do that. And I was like, it's not, it's the term. It's the term that throws people. Especially that they think, oh, it's a website. It's got something to do with the internet.
Like, all of a sudden it becomes too complicated for them.
Yeah, just by calling it a website, for that audience, it became complicated, because I thought it's got something to do with technology, and which it doesn't. And so that's why I don't really use the term. And I also think there is something about I think that people with money, and when I say people, that I mean like companies, people who are in a position to invest in new platforms and new content models, I think they hear the term web series and they think, I'm not putting money in that.
or if we're going to, not as much as we might for
Right.
a more
Like I would rather
serious,
invest in a
a more
television
serious
series.
product. Yeah,
Right.
television film's more serious than something that's shown on the web, right?
Right.
A lot of advertising dollars seem to be coming over to the web side of things and out of TV, if I read the news from the new fronts and the upfronts correctly.
That's what they'd have you think. Yeah. I mean,
You
it's
don't think
all
that's going to
relative.
happen? You don't
It's
see that
relative.
really happening, or
I mean, it is, but you also have to think about just because, when you read stories about advertisers putting X% more into digital, you have to also understand that digital advertising, like digital ad rates are nothing. So it's not apples to oranges. It's not like they're not taking anything away from television necessarily. It's just less money that's being spent on television.
it's not like taking a dollar out of this pot and moving it over to
No,
this.
because the thing that and I have this conversation. I talk about this, and there are people who I'm surprised don't understand this. People like in the advertise or in the web world, like the internet, digital, it will never command the same or close to the same amount as television does. The reason why television makes the money it does in ad rates is because it has the one thing the internet will never have, and that is scarcity. You know, there on television, there's only so many ad slots on so many shows on so many hours of the day on so many channels. The internet is never ending, and so when an advertiser is giving, writing a check to ABC or CBS every July for the coming year, they're buying everything up front, for a reason, because they want to get, like, they see, okay, American Idol or The Voice or whatever. They just want to have their ads running on those shows, and they want it when there's less available space. The less available ad space there is, the more they will pay, which is
Supply and demand.
right, supply and demand and scarcity. The internet, I could, after I get off this hangout, I could set up a YouTube ad campaign in about 2 minutes. I don't have to buy it up front. I don't have to, I can kind of pick and choose,
Okay.
based on kind of audiences. But, YouTube, when YouTube made its whole original channels initiative, which I thought, why are you doing this? When they were trying to be much more like television, I'm thinking
They thought so too. They kind of killed that.
and get the same amount of money. And I thought, well, you can't create scarcity on the world's second largest website or third largest website. You just can't. And it's no wonder that the advertisers weren't wanting to spend that much money. And the other thing is that YouTube invested all of that money, $100 million, in these channels, and the assumption was that they would make back the investment by channel in advertising money. So if I gave you $1 million for a WebVee channel, you would have to generate $1 million worth of ad revenue, before I would recoup my investment and before you would make any money. And so with a $2 CPM, and 100 new channels and no sales force, how would you ever possibly hope to recoup that?
It's a tough business model, and
It's a tough business model when you try to be something you're not.
okay. Do you see it settling down, or any particular model, or are there going to be
I
several?
think Hulu is different. Hulu, is a great value for advertisers only because I know it's okay. You can't skip the ads on Hulu. People are already there as the premium content, and it's like a $25 CPM. So, sorry, my dog's. I got one more question in me, guys. My dog's like, gotta go.
Okay. Then let's talk about what you have coming up next. Is there going to be a season 3 of Leap Year?
I can tell you that we are working on it.
Okay, good. That's good news. And
I mean, like working on it, like we want it to.
okay.
I think I would say that you'll probably be, you'll see the C3D crew. Here she is. See, she wants to be on camera.
Oh, is she just a puppy?
Yeah. No, she'll be 6 in July. She doesn't know she's on TV right now. She's a Chocolate Lab Mini.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Thank you.
What are you working on?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
I
Will
can
we
tell you
find
that I'm
out sometime soon?
Yeah, you'll know. God, I hope soon. Yeah, but I promise it'll be worth it.
Okay, I'm sure it will be. Where can people find your shows?
You can find, let's see, well, you can find all of my shows are playlisted on my personal YouTube channel, so youtube.com Wilson Cleveland.
Okay.
We'll flash that at the bottom of the screen too.
Yeah, you can do that, or in Leap Year is on is hulu.com/leap-year. I don't know. What do you think? So yeah, you can find those there, and then or wilsoncleveland.com.
Okay, and people could follow you on Twitter at Wilson Cleveland, and like you on Facebook, Wilson Cleveland.
Yes, you can.
Okay, this has been incredible. You have been so generous of your time.
Oh, thank you. I mean, you guys watched my stuff for 24. Like, you're insane. We went to marathons. My stuff. I mean, they're insane. So
will you come back and do this with us again sometime?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you to your dog for being such a patient girl.
Crazy. Yes. Thank you very much, you guys.
We'll see you soon. Thanks, Wilson.
You're welcome. See ya.